Welcome to NFT Rebels, the podcast where technology, creativity, education, and non-fungible experiences meet each other. It's me, Annie Alexander, and in each episode, me and the Rebels will have a real unscripted talk, share genuine opinions, and show raw emotions. Should we start? Hello, and welcome everyone. Welcome to the NFT Rebels. I'm very excited today because I reconnected with Stellabelle, who's in the studio today. Very happy to reconnect because I know you from my very first steps into crypto. We met on Steemit, which is which is how I discovered crypto, and which is basically how I ended up falling down the rabbit hole, basically. So that's the biggest thing. I'm gonna give Stella a few minutes if she hasn't shared this stream with her followers.
I shared it, so we're good.
Okay, done.
But do you remember that I met you in the very beginning in 2015 with the James Altucher Choose Yourself group?
Exactly.
That's how I first met you.
That was even before crypto. Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah. So for those who don't know that part of my life, so back in the days, I had a podcast because I've been podcasting since 8 years already. So it was my first podcast, which was for writers who wanted to become authors, and that's where when and how I met James Altucher, and he was on my show. We did an interview, and I ended up being part of his community as a result. So and Stella was part of that community as well. And yeah, I mean, it's just we kept bumping into each other's in different places.
And it's funny because the crypto community trolls James Altucher all the time because he had all those crypto ads in 2017. Do you remember?
Yes, during the ICO times.
We would see it on Twitter. It's like they had the algorithm down. I would see James Altucher's his ads, which were so
yeah, I was actually very surprised when that started happening because, in my mind,
we knew him as he was not like a crypto enthusiast, right? He was just
exactly.
He's an author and this crazy guy that makes money in weird ways, right? That's how So
yeah, he's a very non-standard person, and he has a very inspiring story in a sense that he has failed too many times, and he has, come up again, all these times.
And I did the same thing. I went broke in 2008 during the first recession. I lost everything. I was zeroed out. 100%. That's why it was when I found James Altucher, I was like, wait a minute, how do I crawl back out of this shit? And there he was. And so it was wow, he's providing a good role model for me because, I mean, he's lost everything and he's not afraid to tell everyone about that, so.
Yeah, absolutely. He's that's one thing that really requires courage because he almost had no filters. He's kind of going there.
He doesn't have filters. He
just shares absolutely everything, no matter how personal or how deep and how vulnerable it is. And not everyone can do that. It's very hard, and you don't even know how people will react to it because sometimes they are not ready to hear that or to see that stuff, right? So
yeah, I learned a lot from him. The main thing I took away was just don't publish, and I use it in art too. Don't publish or mint anything unless it makes you feel a little butterflies in your stomach, because that's an indicator that it will have some feeling potentially to other people. If you feel a little bit this is a little, this is making me feel nervous about it. And I use that method. That was the most powerful thing that he taught me, really, is that that's it. Because I don't want to, if you release boring stuff that is too much looks like other people's stuff, it's not going to stand out. And if you don't feel passion for it, or like it's really revealing something about you, or it's like then no one else will feel anything either. That's kind of how I
Yeah.
look at it.
It's absolutely true, because I think like the worst thing that can happen to an artist who's putting out artwork is basically getting indifference in return. Even when the feelings are negative or you get a bit of backlash, you still have provoked some kind of feelings in people's hearts. So it's still a good sign, right? But when people are completely indifferent and it just passes them by and they don't feel anything, I think that's worse than negative emotions. So
I think you're right.
yeah, and I think it's a very good point about these days there are some artists who are trying to make it in the space, and they're pretty much ready to mint anything, just bulk mint stuff just to put stuff out with the hope that some of it will work out. And I think that's a very, very good point, that you need some kind of parameters. You need some kind of ways for yourself to decide which ones to choose, which ones to mint, because minting for the sake of minting, I just feel that it's not right at all. So
yeah. Hey, can I get a small? I got to get a glass of water. Can I come back?
Sure.
Just
Yeah,
2 seconds.
sure.
Okay, hold on.
Sure.
Sorry.
I'll
I can still hear it.
entertain
Wait, you can
people
still
here.
hear me, right?
Yeah,
Can you?
I can still hear you. So yeah.
Oh, that's crazy, because I just got these AirPods finally. I joined the rest of the universe. Okay.
Rest of the universe.
So
Yeah.
sorry about that. I actually, because I was so stressed when I realized that I messed up the hours. So everyone, I apologize, because I miscalculated the time difference, and so I need an assistant. If anyone can help me. No, I'm just kidding. Okay,
time
so
zone
anyway, I'm back.
nightmares. Yeah. So going back to the I mean, we met at James Altucher's community, and then later on I discovered Steemit, and I think that's when I started kind of figuring out crypto and everything else. And Stella, back in those days, I think it was around 5 years ago or so. Stella was already a big influencer on that platform. With
I
very big
was an early
following.
adopter.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, by the time I came on board, it was like kind of, I mean, it wasn't late, but the early adopters were already there for quite a long time. And I think it's very interesting in terms of it felt like Steemit had everything, like all the components that we needed for crypto, kind of getting to know crypto, right? Because like it was you were earning crypto, so you ended up just discovering what to do with the Steam dollars and with Steam, how to exchange it, to use exchanges, to use wallets, figuring things out, etc. So you were going down that route, but at the same time there was this very strong crypto community component, which was kind of it was still a community, just like James Altucher's, but it had a different vibe to it. It had different kind of thing underlying, which was very specific to the crypto communities. And also probably it was relevant to today's quote unquote kind of NFT space, because most of the people on Steemit were creators, right? So it felt like it was like the NFT community is now, but it's very, very early kind of newborn version of it, where back in those days we weren't even kind of talking about NFTs as we're doing now, right?
Well, I don't know if you realize I did start and found a crypto art collective called Slothicorn, which I was doing I wrote that article today about Creative Commons versus copyright. And so my community was actually, the whole reason it existed is because I was able to pay artists for doing Creative Commons work. And also in that community, everyone was educating everyone else about the current crypto art project. So around that time, the CryptoPunks was released. So people found out about CryptoPunks through my collective. And then also, the first art platform was like Rare Art Labs, and I was a part of that. And then Super Rare, I was like in their Discord, like one of the first people in there. And what my goal with that was to educate artists about the emerging crypto art platforms and to get artists paid. So my collective paid out $46,000 in US dollars amount through our curatorial teams and through the Steam ecosystem, which is paid up votes is how it is. But I used my own funds to fund that whole project, and it lasted about a year. And the artists were very resistant to my idea of Creative Commons back then, because the artists were like, hey, I've never been paid for my art, like I don't want to release it to Creative Commons. I just carried on because my theory, which I wrote the article about this, my theory was that in the tokenized economies, we can actually share art, and using NFT technology to do so, of course. That's the revised version of it. Now we have the technology so we can do this, is that when you allow everyone to freely use your art on the internet, but you release the project with an NFT, which is, the economic component already figured out, then the buyers of your Creative Commons NFTs can use your art to then make it go much further than it would if it had copyright. So what my article did is I want everyone to understand that I wrote it from the vantage of knowing that CCO, which is public domain NFT projects, are more lucrative. They make more money, because that's really where we're at. People just want to know, hey, how do I make money as an artist? How do I do that? Look, take it from me. That's why I wrote the article. It is very clear, and I'm going to give you an example, and this should solidify in all artists and everyone that's out there who's listening right now the differences. I want to illustrate, because I think I crystallized it down into 2 examples that it should be crystal clear after you hear this. Okay, we're going to look at one project which has restrictions on the usage of the art, and then one very successful, they're both very successful, I should say that. But it's revealing itself to be something else. Okay, so 2 projects. One, restrictions are there. One, there are no restrictions, it's public domain art. The first example I will give you is CryptoPunks. There are restrictions on the usage of the art. Buying the NFT does not allow you to, number one, set up an Etsy shop. I think there's some limit to how much you can make, okay? So there's a limit, that's what I want to mention.
Yeah.
There is like a psychological limitation to how far you can take your art that you bought as an NFT, which is the CryptoPunk. Okay, so what that does psychologically to you is that it constricts you with your freedom to imagine all kinds of scenarios. For example, creating a successful sneaker brand, creating an Etsy shop, creating stickers, your own stores on all of these print-on-demand things, writing a book about it. What if you make a bestseller and you make $1 million? You will be sued by Larva Labs. There's a restriction on how much you can earn. Okay, so that's one example. Now, let's take another example of Cryptodes by this artist named Gremplin. He released it, CCO, which is public domain. It has a volume of $215 million as of right now, 7,000 items, and there's about 3,600 owners. And the floor price is 3.6 ETH. Okay.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to tell everyone why this is. When you get a Cryptodes, you can do anything you want with it, and you do not even have to do attribution. If I bought a Cryptode today, Cryptodes with a Z, if I bought one right now, I could do the following: open an Etsy shop, design sneakers that sell $1 million worth. I can write a book about my Cryptodes. I can start a comic book and have all my friends who also own Cryptodes as the other characters in the comic book. I could take out a billboard. I can do a commercial. I can do whatever the hell I want. It is public domain. And for this reason, that this is an expansive energy that comes from the CCO projects, meaning absolute freedom. The energy compounds because it is human activity and energy, which are the number one most important thing about anything that involves humans. So money follows energy. And so that's why, in the case of cryptodes, it is wildly successful beyond anyone's wildest dreams, because they think, we are conditioned to think, well, wait a minute, what's the copyright? Like, someone's going to steal my art. I'm going to have to get lawyers involved, right? This is the corporate mentality that we have all been brainwashed into believing that is the truth. And I'm here to set the record straight that this is not the way. And we can see this way because when I made my own project, CCO, which is public domain, I felt this enormous release of tension, stress, and anxiety released because I am not going to have to, number one, worry about any type of copyright infringement. I'm not going to have to waste my creative energy on trying to figure out now who's doing this and what's, you know what, it all becomes very clear to me that all the derivative projects that can emerge from the one Creative Commons work, a project, is a max benefit to, number one, synergy, human freedom, and also economics. I would rather have 10,000 people benefit from my art and have them financially succeed than just one, me becoming a trillionaire. And that is what we have to understand that is going on. And I know I'm acting like a fanatic, but I had the big moment recently when I saw cryptodes and how it was an expansive energy project. It all came, it was fucking clear as a bell.
I think it's, go ahead, sorry.
But what I wanted to say, crystallize it into this other one thing. The internet, our brains, and Creative Commons, and the air that we breathe, and the water, all the stuff, this is the same thing. Creative Commons is a natural force, and our minds are the same as that. Our minds are not built to be trapped, enslaved, and constricted, and the internet shows us that is reality. And so I'm not going to get into an argument of like CryptoPunks versus funks, because that's not what I would do. I'm a creator and I create new things, but I use things all the time, like, because, you know, I'm absorbing information, right? And I can't cut that off. I can't, you know, I did steal someone's tweet recently, but I paid him half of the proceeds from the art. Big shout out, because it was the new Karens. The Karens of the internet. Damn it, this thing fell out. Okay. And I literally stole that tweet because I was like, this is fucking genius. Like, anyway, but I fessed up and I said, hey, I took this tweet from you, and here's the art. And then I was like, oh, I need to pay you half. And so, but I always do attribution. If you find yourself in my art, there's a description, a link to your Twitter. So you're getting follows and engagement through my work. And then my, my conscience is still, you know, it's still intact. And I feel like, hey, if I stole someone's tweet, I probably should give them half. I'm not saying that's going to be the case for everything, because I just don't really believe in this idea that everything is just like islands. We're all interconnected, right? Now, with the Art Wars thing with Ben Moore, who did not communicate to those artists, literally ripped off their art and slapped it on the NFTs. Okay, that's where I'm like, no, that's not the right way. You have to like at least communicate with artists. Like, it's a gray area right now. It's all kind of,
it is. It's
right?
Gray area, even with legislation and everything else, which is kind of, you know, not very clear. But I really liked that point that you made, which is basically that by doing so, you are enabling people to talk about your art and to sort of, to share it with more people, so more people will know about it, right? So basically they are promoting your art because the original one is going to be there, right? And I remember,
because it's a marketing thing, then it becomes a gigantic marketing machine where someone else has their own sets of groups of friends and people that they know. So when they share something, they're exposing my art to all those other people over there.
Absolutely. So basically it's, you're reaching out places and people you wouldn't be able to reach by yourself. And I think, like, it reminds me of the times during the self-publishing years. Like, there were many self-published authors who actually themselves with another accounts were going to these pirate websites and uploading their books. So it would, people would download it, and more
you can do
people
torrents too, right?
Yeah, so like, basically that's what they were doing. So by giving out
their art.
Yeah, so basically people would just go there and get the pirate copies of those things, but that gave them opportunity to learn about the author, and maybe the logic was that they would buy the next book because they liked it, right? But so I knew a few cases where they were doing it on purpose, saying that I want my book to be stolen because like that more people will learn about me. So it just reminds me of this.
I also want my art to be stolen now. And I want to let people know that I didn't have all of this crystallized in 2020, because then I entered the crypto art NFT space full time as an artist. And I was like following what other artists were doing, and no one was like really talking about or releasing their art with a certain license. There was really no discussion about it. And it was just like, well, I'm going to try to see if I can figure, this out. How do I sell my art and all, all this stuff. And then I was like, if I decide to release it under Creative Commons, like, I don't want to make art collectors angry. That was like my first thought, like, and so I had a lot of fear. Like, so I'm not unlike a lot of artists that are asking these questions because we're afraid. We're afraid that
that's the argument Larva Labs uses usually, right? The Larva Labs says, I'm protecting my punk.
I'm protecting my IP,
that, right?
Whatever.
So
it's an old way of thinking. In my newer, I kind of feel like I had a moment of enlightenment when I saw a successful CCO project. And you cannot change the fact that $215 million of volume, that you don't need any more information than that.
Yeah.
Do you?
No.
Did you know that? Did you know about this project?
I know about Cryptodes because I'm part of the Niftify team, and Cryptodes are whitelisted on our project, which means that people can use Cryptodes as collateral to get a crypto loan. So they can put their Cryptode as a collateral.
Well, how do we get Crypto Stellas on there? We haven't even talked about my own project.
Yeah,
I didn't want to bring up my own project until it's time.
No, we're gonna get there. So let's progress with the thing. You mentioned something that is I'm sure many of the people who are watching this now, that's their dream, right? To become full-time artist and to ditch their 9-to-5 job, which kind of many perceive as something that gets on the way of them and creating more and doing what they love, taking out so much time and energy out of them, damaging creativity for many, obviously, etc., etc. And everyone is on this path hoping that eventually they will get there and finally they will do this full time. So what was your journey there? How hard it was to get there? How long did it take you? So those who are listening can kind of imagine what to expect.
Okay, number one, I have been an artist practically my whole life. But starting in college when I learned I could draw, and it was during math class. And I was drawing, doodling, and these weird, these really bizarre things were coming out of me. And I was like, what is this? Like, I really didn't think of myself as an artist, but I was friends with this very, I'd say she's a genius, but she's a writer. And we had a creative life where we would do experiments. So I discovered video feedback on my own. And it's funny because when I discover things, I think I'm the first one to figure this out. But I wasn't. It was just, we started making films, creating like miniature fake art movements. We've made up this art movement called Art Forte, or Flower Arte and stuff, and like made people think it's real. So I got into a creative life very early on, and I literally have been doing art, some form, and I lump writing into that as well. It's a creative endeavor. That's what it is. Yeah, from those times. Now, what I was terrible at is how do I make money from this? So I did freelance web design. I taught myself HTML, learned some coding and stuff like that in the early days of the internet. I was doing freelance web design at that time, but I was terrible with making money with art because I wanted to do my own art. So there's always been a mismatch in my mind. Money is over here, and art, my creativity, and who I really, what I really want to do is over here. So here's what I had to do. Okay, step number one in 2020. Well, I built the Slothicorn Creative Collective so that I could wrangle up all the artists together and we can figure this out, right? And learn everything from each other and collaborate. That collective wasn't really about how do we make $1 million? It was how do we earn crypto from our art? So that's my first, in 2017 is when I started to put everything together. I was in research mode. So I started following Coin Artist because she used to hide Bitcoins in her art, and she invented the Bitcoin puzzle genre. And so I thought, you know what, I want to be like Coin Artist. I want to build ciphers and I want to build puzzles and stuff. So through my collective, I actually just starting that collective actually, I was earning steam and stuff like that from there, but it was before the NFT explosion, right? So now we're in a different space. So artists that are just coming in right now, the first thing you have to decide for yourself is how dedicated do you want to be? Because when I went in full-time crypto art, NFT world in the beginning of 2020, I sat my ass down and I said, it's time to stop chasing shit coins, because I was doing that in 2018. Because, the bear market hit. Get dedicated to making sure that you follow through. Okay, so like number one is you have to work on your psychological stuff. You have to say, do I really want to do this? Okay, once you get to that point, I would take this advice. It wasn't until I designed my Crypto Stella's NFT project, I designed it in a very distinctly different way than everyone else. I had a goal and a purpose. And the number one purpose was not to sell $1 bajillion worth. It was to collect my collectors and to find people that I can form a group with, and we can create the most synergy and intelligence of like the NFT world. And so I have a very different goal than everyone else, because everyone else is saying, well, how do I make money? How do I make money? Now, I'll tell you the reason that I did it. I don't like to sell. I used to sell cars and stuff. I hated every minute of it. And the reason I don't like to sell my art is because it's like trying to sell my own underwear. That's what it feels like every fucking time. It's like, here's my underwear that I've been, spending time with. That's what my art feels like, because I put everything I have into it. And it's personal, okay? And it's hard. It's like trying to chop off my arm and say, would you like to buy this for $2,000? That's what it feels like. So here's what you need to do is I'm going to lay everything out how I do things so that people will understand. Number one, I have a goal that is different than trying to make money. Okay. Yeah. Now, I know that people want to make money. I need to make money to eat. But when I focus only on selling, I become miserable. So here's what I did. I have a flat rate for my paintings for the crypto stellas, which is 0.08 ETH. Okay, that's one thing I did. I made it cheap so that people, they're worth more than that. I mean, they are. I'm not just, they're worth more than that. People have paid 0.88 ETH and 1.9 ETH for them. And so now we know that they're worth more. So what I do though, is I intentionally flatten it out. And this does two things. It makes the people who invest in those and who buy them, they can make money off of me.
Yeah.
Number one, they are then advocates. So it's like, you want the project to succeed if you have it and you want to sell my art and you own it. Number two, the thing it does is it reduces the anxiety and like all the tension about how come my stuff's not selling for 69 million?
Yeah.
Right? Okay. It takes away that. Then it creates demand, because not only do I do a flat rate, I do a ninja drop every once in a while. So I reward people who pay attention. And so when I do a ninja drop, people like rush to get it, because I don't do, no one knows when it's happening, right?
Yeah.
I've created a game out of it. Okay, so that's one way. The other ways that I sell them is that I make puzzles and ciphers. I want to attract smart people. I need developers. I need coders. I need all kinds of people for what I have planned in the future. So I design my art to attract the people that I want. It is, I'm going to write a book about this. I'm pretty sure by the end of it, because in essence, what I'm doing is a giant book. It's like, it just happens to be using NFT technology. So it's the stuff I'm working on is like, I mean, I hate to sound elitist, but actually no one is doing what I'm doing. I think I might be the only one. That's why I think that it's essential that I write a book about this, because I've solved a lot of my own problems as an artist. So what I would say to artists is you have to get really specific about your goals and what you want to do. Because just selling your art and wanting people to buy it, I don't think it's going to cut it, because it's oversaturated right now. You know, everyone is looking at
and
this,
it's going to get worse with the time. It's just,
it's going to get more insane. Now, the reason I did all of the things I'm doing, which I think I left some stuff out, the amount of ways I'm selling my art is enormous, and it's changing all the time. So past karmic deeds also earn you a crypto stella. I have a running list. The founder of Data, her name's Beatrice Ramos, she's on my list. And these people emerge to me because what I'm doing is actually, I'm documenting the good, bad, and the ugly of the NFT world. And so I'm making one project, I call it the satirical PFP project, because it was the emergence of the mediocrity mixed with greed that got me so depressed about what the fuck is going on. I saw these influencers who's just vampires, completely taking over the conversation, the mind share, the philosophy, fucking everything, right? And I got disgusted. And that's why I made my project, because I said, you know what? I have a fucking different way of the future and a different vision of it. And it doesn't look like yours at all. And that's why I got angry. I got depressed, and then I got mad. And then now I feel more love, because I'm showing by doing what I feel is correct and what the world actually needs, which is a give and take and a more direct connection with your collectors and your buyers, and meeting your other needs other than just your own. Those are all things that form a business. And that's how you have to look at things now. Unless you're Uber, if you want to go on Super Rare and have them do your marketing for you, that's what you got to ask yourself. What do you want? So if you just want to just do I don't have anything against Super Rare. Like, I have intentions of applying there. If you just want to do it super rare way, then go on known origin too, because I've been hearing a lot of really positive things about known origin.
Me too. Yeah.
Um, Lots. They were here from the beginning too. I'm
Yeah.
actually going to think about applying to known origin. I'm trying to figure out where to put my,
I met
yeah,
few
sorry.
people from, I met in person a few people from the team here in London at an event. And I can tell you, like, especially in physical encounters, you can't really fake genuine sort of interest in the space. You can't fake caring and all that stuff. So obviously it was showing on the online space for sure. And many artists were very kind of happy with the way they were treated because, when you compare it with some other platforms, it's like a big
Nifty
difference.
Gateway. I wouldn't go on Nifty Gateway.
Yeah, I
I wouldn't
haven't tried
fall on
them,
Nifty
so I don't
Gateway.
know. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's another thing, right? When you pay attention in the market and when you talk, enough people and you talk to them, just by talking to them, you can already know who is a good player and who is not so good player, right? Because you
So yeah.
hear different in different contexts, you hear the same names over and over again from different people, so you can make your own judgments even if you haven't tried them. But from my personal experience, I'm not on any of those platforms yet, but no region, I just I know that they care and they are very involved. They don't look from a side, right? They are involved and they are part of the community, which is very important. They are not, some of them are artists themselves. They really understand the space. They understand the artist's mindset and everything else. So I think it's very, very important. And there are always trade-offs, right? Like, if you want to take everything, if you're making a decision that it's going to be under your own control and everything is going to be yours, then obviously you need to put more work into it and you have to take care of all these other aspects as well. If you feel like, okay, you know what, I'm okay with the trade-off, I'm fine with others taking care of my visibility and showing me support, and in return I give up part of the control or part of the ownership or whatever, and things are not super customized and specifically made for me or for my needs, but it's fine, then it's another choice. I mean, both have a place to be, but that's important point that you're mentioning, that as a start, one needs to understand for herself or himself
assess your
what do
own
you want.
strengths. What are your own strengths, and then you can cater it towards opening your own like project, which is like I have a project name, and that's an important thing, that the social aspect is for me maybe just as important or more important, because then those people become my advocates, and that's the thing that you will not get if you do not have a project and have a group. So that's the thing you got to ask yourself, right? And if async art is really good too. There's a lot of really good platforms. Like it all depends. You can custom do whatever, and I'm a little bit like and I've been analyzing this. Every artist has a certain way that they're doing everything, and I'm a little bit like, well, not in the art style, but like what Robness does is he just goes everywhere independently. He's on Tezos and he's here and there, and he collabs with people on Super Rare, even though Super Rare kicked him off. And I kind of resonate with that, because I'm kind of the same way. Like, I got to be the driver of my ship. So it's kind of like, I'm going to go over here if I want to go over here right now, and we'll see how it all. So I mean, and I started off in NFT showroom. I've got art there and on Rarible. I have art on Tez, and I mean, I'm just fucking all over the place, right? I'm working up to getting a different collection, maybe for known origin or super rare. We'll see, but it just all depends. You're right, on the personality of the artist and what you feel comfortable with, but.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'd suggest everyone try out known origin. Like, if they're starting out, wouldn't you suggest that? Are you on known origin?
Yeah, I have
Oh,
applied. I'm
okay.
waiting. I'm waiting for the response, so I haven't received anything yet. So it's in process because I think they got 1,500 applications under this wave, so it will probably take them a bit of time to go over all of those. But
so
yeah.
in the meantime, you can ask yourself, those hard questions is like, what is your goal in the crypto art world? Like, what do you want to accomplish? And the strangest thing that I found is that when I began to focus on my goals, which are way bigger than anything that I could accomplish on my own, there's a couple things that I would like to influence the culture. Is like, that's actually probably the biggest thing that I can say that I want as a person that is alive right now, is I want influence over the culture, because the culture has gone to shit. Let's be real about it. It really has.
Do you see parallels with what happened with ICOs and 2017, etc., and what is happening now with the thing?
It's the same.
Right?
It's the same. And it's hard to resist when 99% of the energy and all the stuff coming at you is of that thing, which is really what it is that people are focused on the money right now. Number one, and only focused on the money. Like, there's nothing else. So in my mind, I think that it's been co-opted. The people that were in when I was starting out, we never talked about like how much money we were going to make, and we're going to make millions of dollars. That's not what the storyline.
I remember the Steemit community in the very beginning.
It was so idealistic. It's like, we're finally earning from our creativity. We're able to eat from crypto. Everything was about empowering and getting educated, right? Sharing information. The thing is, we can actually go back to that and earn a fuck ton of money. That's what I think that's what my title of my book is. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to choose to be poor or choose copyrighted stuff. You can choose Creative Commons and earn a fuck ton of money. End of story. That's it.
It's not one or the other. You can do both.
It's not one or the other anymore. This technology allows poor people. I mean, I came from zero when I came into Steemit. I was fucking broke. The recession like wiped me out. And I was like, and it was just like, when I found out that I could earn money writing on Steemit, and I didn't have to, because I was, a tech writer for this interesting engineering at the time. And I was getting paid shit money and working my ass off. It was like $500 a month to write 7 articles per day. And it wasn't light. It was like, I was writing about nanotechnology. I was writing about Nikola Tesla's inventions and shit like that. It was like, it was high level stuff, but it didn't pay my bills. The whole point is that now that we have crypto, we have all these tools. Now we got to fucking figure out how to use them, right? So it's kind of like, that's what I want everyone who's listening, who's an artist, to ask yourself this question. What are your goals? Okay, yeah, you want to make it as an artist, but why? Why do you want to do?
Yeah.
Why? Why do you want to? What do you have to say? What kind of influence do you want? Do you, why do anything? Like, I'm kind of like a hardcore asking questions, but like, I like stuff, that makes me think and that is challenging and that like, is kind of like shaking things up. And so, but I know that not everyone's like me, but
no, I'm with you on that, because I think like, that's another choice, right? You can make a choice of, okay, you know what, it's hyped period. Things are working out, like, there's lots of money and attention, etc., etc. You can choose to like, okay, let me do one collectible, just grab the money and that's it, and solve my problems and move on, right? Or you can choose to be there. No, not at all. But what I'm saying is like, there is still, even that is a matter of a choice, right? There are so many different ways.
Yeah, you could do a derivative project of toads. I recommend everyone just do a derivative of a CCO project. Hell, fucking do one of mine. Because you know what? There's lots of buyers that are already lined up that can't get a hold of the crypto Stellas. So a derivative project is probably a way to make money. If you look at my stats and everything, if you kind of look at how much money is coming in and the amount of people that want it.
Yeah, I think in your case, I think, here the issue is that's another question, right? To make a choice around whether it's going to be just art or it's going to be a project with a purpose, right? Because in your case, there is a purpose behind it. There is a statement behind it. There is kind of, a specific way of doing things. And also kind of, you have a message that you're sharing with your collection. You have a message about, I don't like the way things are at the moment in this space. I want to make it different, right? I want to make it better.
I want to let everyone know, I want to laugh. Like I love humor and comedy and dark comedy, give me something to laugh at. Like I spend most of my days laughing on Twitter, and I admit it right now. I fucking love comedy and humor. And so there is a, huge humor component, because laughter is like, I mean, when I see like a meme that is just so accurate that is describing what's going on, there's really nothing better than just finding that and then kind of expounding on that. Because when I found that tweet about CryptoPunks are the Karens of CryptoPunks are CryptoPunk owners are the Karens of crypto. I just pretty much lost it, because I mean, it's kind of true, because they're like, like IP and
yeah, it's a very different culture. It's a very different kind of. I think that's why, right?
When they all paid $1 million for their JPEGs, and now they're like.
Yeah,
oh god,
and I think that's why, like, it's so different. Like, people keep talking about flippening and like, punks versus Bored Apes and all that stuff, but it's so hard for me to even compare those, because those are completely two very different extremes, right? There are two projects that are not even alike each other, because in one extreme you have Larva Labs, which is very kind of detached from the community and more kind of corporate vibe and all that stuff, and then you have Bored Apes team that is kind of really very community centric,
but they're not Creative Commons either. So when you buy a Bored Ape,
either. Yeah,
I don't know the rules, but I know that because I talked to my friend Mike. Hey Mike, what's going on? I talked to him and he was like, you don't have the IP, intellectual property of a Bored Ape.
They are not Creative Commons. What they are is basically when you buy the ape, you are buying also the commercial rights and the license and the copyright for that specific ape, which is yours. So it's one of the middle, right? So you can make a derivative projects, but with your own ape, not all apes, just yours, the one that you own.
Okay.
So it's basically something in between. Okay. Yeah, so it's basically, sorry for any lawyers who are watching,
steps, like,
because I'm not a lawyer, so this is just
I'm not an expert on apes either.
So I don't know.
I'm not an expert
what
on
I've understood, it's like it's in between the two extremes, right? It's not Creative Commons.
Yeah, it's kind of like a gray area.
So
that's
basically,
what I see happening is that slowly we're getting back to my original fundamentals on why I created.
Yeah, so
collective. We're going back to what I knew in 2017, which is I basically just said, the future is about a we economy, not an I economy.
Yeah,
because it expands. Yeah. It's more expansive, and it's more energetic, right? You're operating at a higher energy, and like lawyers and stuff seem like Web 2 to me. That seems like an old model.
Creative Commons empower everyone at the same time. in the Bored Ape model, they also empower their whole community, but like one license and one ape at a time, like one-on-one
Right.
kind of
Right.
thing. You know, that's kind of the way I see this. I don't know. I mean, maybe my
No,
understanding is wrong,
I
but
like that.
that's,
No, no, I like that. We empower one ape at a time, which is actually very astute observation with that. I love it. And I just I want to mention everyone to think about this for 1 second is that um, corporations, like giant ones, they're one of the biggest um, influencers of the human mind, right? How the corporations operate. And copyrights actually benefit, it's beneficial for corporations to have the copyright thing for them. More so, I feel like small unknown artists will be actually able to make more money by using the Creative Commons license for this one fact that everyone's making derivatives. And especially if your art is amazing, you'll get tons of derivatives, which is tons of marketing vehicles. And
yeah.
the copyright actually is there in place to benefit the gigantic corporations, the big ones. And so I feel that if we all work together more, then maybe we don't have to have, people enslaved to work for, I mean, fuck, the only model that I can see is good in the world is Chobani, which is, that CEO, he pays, everyone gets like 70,000. And so that's very much like a crypto art. That's a crypto mentality, because everyone is incentivized to do more and work hard and give it your best, right? We don't want like a society where we have like only rich people that enslave others, because I see that too going on now. We want a, a, a society where people are feeling empowered to give it their best. And the way to do that is to have people in tokenized economies. Because if you own a coin and that coin is representative of this art that you love, and then you decide to do a derivative, you're adding to the value of that, and it's like it compounds. And so
Yeah.
tokenized economies, if they're done properly with the right people that are showing the way, then I think this model could do amazing things for the future and for right
But
now. It's just
how
we
does
need
that
time to.
work? Like, is it you need to make a bit of changes to the thing, right? You can't just take it exactly the way it is and like, right? Is there any, like, for example, your collection?
Okay,
Um,
yeah.
if someone gets a piece from it, they can't make kind of, a copies of this exactly the same thing, exactly the same way and sell it, right?
They could.
They have
They
to.
could.
They
It's
can.
public domain. You can do that.
Okay. So even
I
if you're not
actually
making any
encourage
changes to it. Okay. Got
I
it.
encourage people to copy it. You know why? Because then other people will see the art.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid. I've already been paid. Like I have a built-in income stream for the next year. My project is going to be a 1 year long. Because I have people lined up to buy my art, I don't have any anxiety anymore. It's gone. Okay. And I'm not afraid of someone stealing my art. In fact, I wish they would, because I don't have time to build stores. And I would like a store with merchandise in it and stuff like that. So if someone copies my art directly, let's say they put it on Rarible, I'm okay with that, because those people seeing that art over there, I mean, they can buy it, but they'd have to research. They can do a reverse image search and find out that I'm the original creator, because now we have the blockchain that determines that it's me that created that,
Where it came from originally. Yeah.
where it came
Makes sense.
from, the
Yeah.
origin. And so it's like, it's very essential that you have to be an NFT like you have to be an artist using NFT technology to ensure that in the future you are properly recognized and understood as the original creator of that artwork. So if you are against NFT technology, and by the way, it is only a technology, It's not like, oh, those NFT people. It's a technology just like the internet is. It's like the most neutral thing in the world. It's
Yeah.
just that no one quite understands these basic facts of using a new technology to make sure that you are properly attributed as the original creator of a work of art. And then, so once the buyers realize they bought a fake or a copy, what happens to the value of that NFT? It goes way down, right? Because they didn't buy it from the original creator. The only
Yeah.
reason anything has value is because hey, XYZ artist, they're the ones who created this. I have
Yeah.
their energy stored within my wallet,
Yeah.
direct energy from them. It's like an energetic transmission or something. Now we're getting a little psychedelic. So I
Yeah.
want people
Yeah.
to know
No,
that
I
I
get
am
it.
a psychedelic because that's how I operate. I don't That's why when people couldn't get my crypto sales in the beginning, they're like, hey, I put a bid, mine was the highest. I said, I'm using a different system. OpenSea is not using my psychedelic system. There's no platform that exists right now that operates the way I do. So maybe if anyone's listening to this, like, there's a different way to do stuff, and I know how to do it and earn money at the same time. That's the difference. We have the tools. I get a little
Um,
hysterical about this because I've been thinking about this topic for 5 years.
no, 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 I get it. Like,
five
it's
years,
been
5 years.
a while, and you started thinking about it way before many of quote unquote
Yes.
influencers got into the space, right? So
Yeah,
I'm
they're not the real leaders, and they're not the main influencers of culture. They're the influencers of pump and dump schemes, also rugging. Oh, we have a rug pull burn party. Let's get in. You might have another topic, but I want to talk about what I have planned for the future, which is coming up pretty soon. I got a lot of stuff happening. I
let's
don't know
get
if you
that.
knew that or not about our party
I
that we're
still
having.
I know as much as is in the article because I read the latest article you shared with me. So whatever is there, that's as much as I know. So but please feel free to share.
Okay. So everyone, so because my crypto still is a satirical PFP project born out of the lethal combination of greed and mediocrity. See, greed on its own, I can deal with it. I'm greedy just like everyone else. Do I want a Tesla? Of course I want a Tesla. I'm not a fucking idiot. Okay. I had to get that out there because people think of me as like, well, you're like anti-rich people or whatever. No, I'm not at all. It's just that the way that you become rich is important to me. I have principles, okay? So scamming people and rugging them from promoting a fucking shitcoin like B Gold, no, I think you're a piece of shit. And you know exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, anyway, back to her schedule. On January 1st in my Crypto Vasos gallery, we are going to have what's called a rug pull burn party. This exhibit is being built by the Crypto Stella's owners. There's about how many of us in there? Around 15 to 20. And we will also be guides, which all that means is that we'll be in crypto boxes, which is virtual reality, um, burning the rug pulls. Now, how this thing works is that we are taking the first 100 people who submit their rug pull NFT, and I have the link is in my latest article, and I'll be doing an article that specifically lays this
So is
out.
it like the NFTs from a
Yes, the
project that
link.
has been rug pulled?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes. So there's a type form that you fill out, and it'll ask you, what is the link to your rug pull? You have to be the owner of it. You can't just submit some random thing. You've got to be like the owner of it. And then it'll ask your Tezos address. I'll get to what you'll get in exchange for it in a second here. Your Tezos address and your Twitter account, because I need to do a little research to make sure that you're the real owner of that rug pull. So the first 100 people who fill out the form, give me all the information and I verify it, you will be getting a combined, like a communal rug pull NFT that contains all the rug pulls that were submitted. And you'll be getting that on Tezos, I'm pretty sure, because fucking gas is like killing me.
Yeah,
So basically what this is, I'm accepting rug pull scam NFTs as currency to get the communal rug pull NFT. And the amount of rituals and stuff we're going to have at this burn party, there's real fires already going on right now. We'll have all the rugs displayed all over the buildings. So it's a rug pull art exhibition. You can see all the rug pulls that have happened. It's fascinating because there's stuff that I didn't even know, like these projects, right? So anyway, it's a historical moment.
I think you're trying to turn something super ugly into a really beautiful art performance. That's how I see
right.
it.
You're right. You're right. And just for everyone listening, also there is a rug pull video contest. The top 3 videos, and what you do is just you describe, you can make a video any way you want. You can show your rug and talk about it, or you can show your face or wear a mask or whatever. You don't have to make a video like video if you don't want to. So the first 3 are like the best 3 videos that are about your rug pull. They will each win a crypto Stella. And the deadline is the December 20th for that. And also at the rug pull event, I'll take all those 100 people and we will pick randomly, we'll pick one winner to win a crypto Stella as well. Nice. So there's a lot of opportunities to earn. Crypto Stella is coming up. If you do something, you know, like, hey, if you participate, you have a chance to win. And also, if you create something awesome, which is like just your story of being rugged, you know, if you have an amazing story of being rugged or we want to know. Like, I'm interested. It's kind of a weird thing because it's such a source of shame, right? It's just a source of shame.
Those stories are important as well. Yeah, I mean, those stories are important as well because, you know, you have to be cautious and you have to know that they exist and kind of, you know, you have to know the ways that they operate. So I think
most people that I know have been rugged so many times I can't even count. And we're talking we're talking millions and millions of dollars, right?
Absolutely. And since we touched the rocks thing, I think that, you know, it's time to tell. I'm being approached by loads of projects wanting to be on the podcast. I just want to, you know, another disclaimer just one more time that I'm not doing any paid placements. I'm just featuring people or projects that I find have interesting stories behind them and have an interesting kind of message behind it. So obviously I wasn't paid by Stella. Obviously it's this promotional video or whatever. Just want to put it out there. So when people approach me just, you know, for promotional purposes, I'm not doing that.
I love that about what you're doing because you're providing a real service. And people, you always want to be associated with integrity and quality, and that's exactly what you're doing.
Yeah,
I didn't know that you were doing this. I'm so far in my own world. I can barely, you know, manage all the stuff going on, right? So
yeah, you're doing so many things. So
yeah, oh my God, when did you start this podcast, for example?
So
how long has it been going?
I've been podcasting in the last 8 years, right? So the first 4
oh
and a half years,
I remember.
So fabulous. I started with 4 or 5 years of the writing podcast, The Right to Be Read. Then, you know, it was kind of, it broadened a little bit and wasn't just for writers, but was about any personal brand. So it was called Brand Architect after that. Then during the ICO hype and stuff like that, and, you know, when I started getting into Steemit and things like that, I started doing a new podcast, which was called Crypto Talks. And I had to stop it just exactly for that reason, because most of the projects were coming with all these offers to shield a coin, and I didn't want to do it. And the environment was such that it was very hard to do anything else, right? It was like no one was interested in anything else but the project, the shielding of the token. Exactly. And I didn't want to do it. So I stopped and kind of, you know, I made a pause. And about a year ago, I restarted Crypto Talks, and it was more about blockchain, about interesting projects, humans behind the blockchain, etc. And I think a few months ago, because I really started sort of segueing into NFTs, I started creating my own and really loved the community. I just niched down Crypto Talks into NFT Rebels. So it kind of, I decided to make more focus on what I really enjoy myself. So that's how the whole kind of long journey of 8 years ended up with NFT Rebels.
Wow. I was going to ask you something. Oh, no. I was going to tell you there's a, I can't remember the name. There's a startup that's doing books that are for the metaverse. So what you do is, like, when you're in the metaverse and you find these books, and then basically by pressing a button, it'll be a print on demand type thing.
Wow.
And
Okay.
and I thought that was brilliant, because what that's doing is it's fusing the metaverse world with the real world in a way that you discover the book while you're in the metaverse. I don't know which one they're going to focus in on, but
It's not Publica, is it? Is it
no, I
called
don't think it
Publica?
is.
No. Okay.
No, but I mean, how many books have you written? Like, you should really, you have all this expertise in writing and books and stuff that like, they're NFT books now too, where they're
Well,
this
I
is part of the
minted
project.
mine. Yeah, why I was asking, because there is still a platform around which is called Publica, and during the Crypto Talks times, about 3 years ago, I interviewed their founder, and I actually minted my first novel on that platform. It's still around. It's on the blockchain. So like, I minted my first novel 3 years ago on that platform,
Oh,
and so yeah, I mean.
it's
It's back in the
kind of
days,
like
I
a,
didn't even know it was an NFT or whatever, because we called it publishing on blockchain. But basically, when you look at it, it's the same thing. But yeah,
yeah.
drop me that,
I
share
don't
with
have
me
the
that
link.
project details when you
I
remember
don't
it.
remember the
I'll
guy's name. I wish I could remember. I'll think of it. And
Okay, I'll do a
I think they
research.
haven't, I don't think they've launched, but I want to partner with them, because Crypto Stella's project, NFT project, is going to be in a physical book at the end.
Okay, then it kind of
I'm
makes
making it
sense.
into a book.
Yeah.
Pretty much, I have a long list of things I'm gonna do. It's just, big announcement. I also need to tell everyone, because I haven't been very clear about this one thing, which is, if you own a Crypto Stellas on Christmas, December 25th, I'm going to be looking at all the addresses that own one on the 25th. And if you're one of them, you will be receiving a New Year's present. I'm not going to
Wow.
say what it is, but you'll know pretty soon. And
Nice.
so I have this sort of elaborate thing that's planned, and until the video is done, that really unleashes this thing onto, it's a dream that I've had for probably my whole life, to do something like this, and I have the funds now to really put a lot of my ideas into reality. So that's coming soon.
Nice.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Okay, so I think,
Okay,
like,
so
for anyone who wasn't following Stella, like, real OG, here since, like, probably since most of you haven't even kind of heard about NFTs or crypto back in those days. So as you can see, very unique, with loads of different crazy ideas. I'm sure it will be very entertaining to follow her. So just give her a follow, and yeah, I
I
mean,
do have
thank
a
you.
lot of wild ideas. It's
Yeah, yeah,
part
yeah.
part
I
of it
know.
is,
I
it's
mean,
just
Stella never changes. I've known her since about 5 years. She's always full of many completely mind blowing ideas, very, very different, and she's bold enough to sort of go ahead with them, right? Even when people don't really understand or accept it. So she just doesn't care.
oh,
She just goes ahead with those,
what if
right?
they're not understood or accepted? Do you think I'm kind of crazy? I have no idea. Do you think
I
I'm a
think
little bit off the kilter?
no, I feel like, many people would be a bit cautious about if they had that style. Very often people are asking me like, you know what, my style is not trendy, it's not something people love buying, it's not a popular one, it's not a common one, should I change my style? And then I'm like, no, 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 you should stick to it, like, but so yours is like not the kind of mass market type of thing, right? It's different, it's unique, it's not like what everyone else is doing. So
It is
you know
mass market.
it's
I don't
no,
know
it
if you saw
looks
did you see
rare.
my Snoop Dogg NFT, my painting that I painted
Yeah,
him in the 15th century?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That is actually done in the style of the 15th century. I mean, so I wouldn't say that I don't have mass market appeal, because if you look at some of my art, it's done. I'm not using glitching, although, I have done that before. But I mean, I use AI and stuff in a lot of my work that people may not know about. But that is done in a traditional art style that people buy that kind of art every day. And
Yeah,
so I
but
don't know if
I
you can
think what
say that.
no, I think what I meant was like, you probably don't worry too much about whether people will like it or not. If you like it, then it's good,
Oh no,
right?
I don't
You
worry
don't
about
have
that
that.
anymore.
Yeah,
I
I
used
think.
to. I in 2020 when I was like, people. Well, I mean, MetaPurse who bought the Beeple, MetaPurse owns some of my art, and like when that happened, I don't even know when what order. MetaPurse bought my art called the NFT, which is like one of my best animations, I think. So when that happened, it was like, oh fuck, I better make more art like this, like, because hey, I don't. It was for 2 ETH. It was like my first sale. It was like 2 ETH, and it's by a famous collector. So I was like, fuck, I don't want to mess this up. And so I was getting worried, like, oh, no, the Creative Commons. Well, I mean, at that time, I was like, well, forget about that. I mean, I need to make money, right? This is like the first time I made that kind of money from my art. And then
Yeah,
so it's a lot of fear, right? It's like, I don't want to do anything that's gonna make my collectors mad and everything. I've completely given that up, and I've actually like given some of my collectors my art now, because I'm kind of getting more in the reflective period of, if people are doing such amazing have done such amazing things for me, then they deserve this as a gift. And so the gift economy principles are starting to come back to me a little bit. And the reason though is because I don't have to worry about making money anymore. I'm making plenty of money in many different ways. So yeah, I can kind
yeah.
of release myself from that pressure
Yeah,
a
I
bit.
mean, once that pressure is off, I think like, people are, it's easier to experiment. It's easier to sort of set yourself free
Yeah,
and
it's
kind of,
scary though in the
try things
beginning.
out.
Yeah, I
It
just
is, but then, yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to add one more thing that I don't know if your viewers know this, but I've been building in crypto voxels for 9 months. I'm a metaverse architect, a voxel architect. But what I want to tell people is that I have a community collection in crypto voxels that I mint for free for anyone. I mean, anyone. And so it's to help people that don't own land in crypto voxels make and design their own clothes so that they can run around in crypto voxels and they don't have to be charged any money. And this is a free service that I'm doing for the community to help bring in more people to crypto voxels, because I believe that's the best one. Like for me, they have the most artists and stuff. Anyway, I'm throwing that out there because I want people to know that they can make they can make 3D clothes using Magic of Voxels, submit the file, which is a Vox file, to my community collection, which is called Stella's Community. And then you got to send me a message on Twitter because I'm doing so many things. But if you do that, just say, hey, I minted the stuff, I'm waiting for it, and then I'll get to it in the next few days. Then you get something minted for free. And the reason I can do it is because I'm using the Polygon chain, which is like, it cost me like a penny to mint the stuff. And so I can mint it for free. So this is something that, this is a service that I don't think that many people realize exists. And I don't advertise or do commercials for it. Because if I got an onslaught, like, you know, don't submit more than like 20 box files at once, please. Like, you know. But I don't know if you realize that either, but that's a benefit. And I also take 5% of any sales. So like, let's say you sold a bunch of your stuff in my collection, I would take 5% of your sales to cover my time. Like I spend a lot of time on this every day now, or every other day, minting. And so it covers the basics of my time. But most people are like, hey, it's free, I'll do it. So I wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah,
anyway, thank you.
I really loved the conversation. Thank you so much for coming over. I think it was super good to reconnect as well. So we should be in touch. I'm joining your Discord, so just to see what you guys are up to.
That's my old Discord. That's from 2017. Yes, it's the same Discord from 2017. I've kind of hidden a lot of the old channels. That everything is still in there. All the contests, all the people that won stuff. It's all in there still.
So I'll check it out and I'll just have a look and see
it's the oldest crypto art Discord
over there. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much.
For having me. Thank you.
Thanks everyone for
really
watching.
Appreciate it.
It was super cool. Thanks a lot. Take care, everyone, and see you in the next episode. Bye.
Thank you.